This is the true story of a 32-year-old mother named Dali. A wife, a mother of 3 beautiful daughters, a woman who survived poverty, sacrificed her education, carried responsibilities that should never have belonged to a child, and spent years building the financial security she never experienced growing up. But this is also the story of how that security was destroyed, not by a stranger, not by someone who openly hated her, but through the encouragement of a trusted friend named Ina, a woman who already knew exactly where gambling could lead. This is not simply a story about losing money. It is about how addiction enters a family through one person, then begins feeding on everyone around them. The gambler loses money, the husband loses trust, the children lose attention, the home loses peace, and while everybody is paying for it, the gambling app continues glowing inside one person's hand. If you have ever wondered how a close friend can introduce destruction while appearing caring, humble, and harmless, stay until the end. Because what happened to Dali did not begin with a massive bet. It began with trust. It began with conversation. It began with 100 pesos. And it began with a friend who already knew how the story could end. This is Mind Trap. Subscribe and listen carefully. Because the most dangerous person in your life may not be the one who attacks you. It may be the one who studies your weakness, makes destruction look normal, then remains beside you while you destroy yourself. Dali did not grow up surrounded by comfort. Her childhood was shaped by hardship and extreme poverty. Although she had brothers and sisters, much of the family's weight fell onto her shoulders. While other children were thinking about school, friendships, and the lives they might build, Dali was learning how to survive. She gave up her education, not because she lacked intelligence, ambition, or a desire to learn, but because poverty does not always ask children what they want. Sometimes poverty simply decides for them. It turns children into providers before they understand money. It teaches them responsibility before they have experienced freedom. It forces them to carry adults who should have been carrying them. That kind of childhood can create strength, but it can also leave a wound. When someone grows up without security, money may stop representing money. It begins representing protection, dignity, control, and escape. Years passed. Dali got married and became the mother of 3 wonderful daughters. She was no longer the powerless child watching her family struggle. She had her own home, her own children, and the opportunity to create something more stable than the childhood she had endured. And Dali could save. When her husband sent money for household expenses, food, school needs, and bills, she managed it carefully. Over time, she bought gold jewelry for herself. Those pieces of gold carried meaning. They were not merely decorations. They were physical evidence that the child who once had almost nothing had finally built something that belonged to her. She wore them proudly. The gold told her that she was disciplined, that she was responsible, that she could hold on to money, that poverty had not defeated her. Dali believed she understood herself. But sometimes a person can understand how to survive hardship without understanding how quickly the mind can be manipulated by hope. Dali did not form close friendships easily. She knew people, but genuine emotional connection was rare. Ina became one of the few women allowed closer. Ina visited Dali's home. She stayed over. She spent time with the children. She appeared caring and comfortable inside the family's private world. Perhaps part of that care was genuine. Human beings are rarely completely good or completely evil. A person can love you and still bring destruction into your life. Someone can possess kindness and addiction at the same time. But when addiction becomes stronger than conscience, even a caring person can become dangerous. Ina had already fallen deeply into mobile gambling. She had lost much of what she owned. She had gambled money her husband had worked hard to earn. She borrowed from almost every available source. Her debts grew larger than her income, and interest began multiplying around her. Her phone rang with a different kind of notification. Not celebrations, not winning announcements, calls from people demanding repayment. The money was gone, but the belief remained. That is one of gambling's most brutal psychological traps. Evidence can collapse while hope survives. Ina had lost repeatedly, yet every new amount of money created the same thought. Today could be different. Today could be my lucky day. One win could repair everything. The losses did not teach her to stop. They convinced her that she was becoming more experienced. She began mistaking exposure for expertise. Every loss felt like another lesson. Every near win felt like evidence that she was getting closer. Every small victory erased the memory of several defeats. That is not mastery. That is the illusion of control. Research into gambling psychology shows that gamblers can interpret near misses as evidence that they are learning the game, even though a near miss is still a complete loss. Random outcomes begin feeling personal. The player imagines patterns, develops rituals, and starts believing that persistence will eventually overpower probability. But the app does not care how confident you feel. It does not know that your children need food. It does not know that the money came from your husband. It does not know that the ring you pawned represented years of sacrifice. It only knows whether you will press the button again. Ina was surrounded by other gamblers. They spoke about their suffering, their debts, and their desperation. But instead of warning one another, they kept reinforcing the fantasy. They discussed misery in one breath and imagined the next victory in another. Their losses became normal. Their borrowing became normal. Their secrecy became normal. Their belief that one more game could rescue them became normal. Then Dali moved closer to that circle. Ina began sharing her gambling experiences with her. She shared the pain, but she also displayed the winnings. And this distinction matters. When someone shows you a victory without making you feel the full weight of everything it cost, they are not showing you the truth. They are advertising the bait. Ina shared links. She shared information. She discussed the applications. She encouraged Dali's curiosity. The conversation continued until gambling began occupying space inside Dali's mind before she had even placed her first bet. This is how destructive influence often works. It does not always issue an order. It plants a thought. It repeats the thought. It gives the thought emotional energy. Then it waits until the other person begins believing the thought belongs to them. Dali started thinking about the application when Ina was not present. She wanted to understand it. Then she wanted to experience it. Then she wanted to prove that she could succeed where others had failed. She did not believe she was walking toward addiction. She believed she was walking toward a larger form of saving. The money her husband sent had a purpose. Food, school expenses, bills, the basic machinery keeping a family alive. But gambling offered Dali a fantasy. Perhaps she could multiply that money. Perhaps she could turn a small allowance into something larger. Perhaps she could become more financially powerful without waiting years to save. Then one night, when sleep would not come, Dali opened the app. 100 pesos did not look dangerous. That is how the trap introduced itself, not as a monster, but as an amount small enough to dismiss. She played. She won. She doubled the money. She won again. Then she lost. Then she won something back. After moving repeatedly between victory and defeat, she looked at the remaining balance and believed she had made a profit. The amount was small. The psychological consequence was not. That early win did something important. It gave Dali a memory that addiction could later use against her. From that moment forward, whenever she lost, her mind could whisper, "You won before. You understand this. You can do it again." Gambling had manufactured evidence for its own lie. Dali shared her activity with Ina. Soon gambling became the central language of their friendship. The links, the games, the wins, the losses, and the strategies gave them something constant to discuss. Dali began playing with smaller amounts, then larger ones. And for a while she won consistently enough to become convinced that she possessed a skill. She treated the children to lunch. She bought things for the house. These purchases made the gambling appear productive. The family could see the meal. They could see the new household items. But they could not see the hook entering Dali's mind. Addiction rarely introduces itself by announcing, "I have come to destroy you." It arrives dressed as opportunity. It calls itself entertainment, then extra income, then talent, then recovery, then necessity. By the time Dali understood that something had changed, gambling was no longer something she occasionally did. It had become something she thought about when she was not doing it. She believed she had mastered gambling. In reality, gambling was mastering her. Ina continued talking about her desperate life while Dali described her supposed expertise. Eventually, Dali began giving Ina advice. The student believed she had surpassed the teacher, but both women were learning from the same machine. And the machine had only one lesson: keep playing. Dali began spending long periods tapping her phone from the corner of the bed. Her body remained inside the home, but her attention had left it. This is one of the most overlooked forms of family abandonment. A parent does not need to physically disappear to become absent. A mother can sit only a few feet from her children and still be psychologically unreachable. The children continued living around her. They played, they spoke, they needed attention, they needed patience, they needed the ordinary moments through which children learn that they matter. But their mother's emotional world had been compressed into a glowing screen. The children could not compete with the possibility of the next win. They did not understand variable reinforcement, gambling disorder, or loss chasing. They only understood that their mother was present, but unavailable. They learned to occupy themselves. They learned when not to disturb her. They learned that the expression on her face could change according to something happening inside a phone they could not understand. When she won, relief entered the room. When she lost, tension entered with it. Children often become emotional weather forecasters inside unstable homes. They study facial expressions, footsteps, and tones of voice because their safety depends on predicting which version of the parent they are about to meet. They did not place a single bet, yet they were already paying. Then came the night Dali lost 1,000 pesos. The loss hurt, but the next thought was more dangerous than the loss itself. I need to take it back. At that moment, gambling changed. She was no longer playing for excitement or profit. She was chasing. She added more money. She lost again. She doubled the amount. Another loss. 7 rounds disappeared. Each loss increased the urgency of the next bet. Logic would say that repeated losses were evidence to stop. But inside the addicted mind, repeated losses can create pressure to continue. Stopping would mean accepting that the money was gone. Continuing allowed Dali to imagine that the damage was temporary. The next day, she used her allowance. Money intended to maintain the household entered the app. She lost. She continued. She lost again. The woman who once saved carefully was no longer protecting money. She was throwing money after money that had already vanished. Then Dali went to a pawn shop. The gold that once made her proud was converted into gambling credit. Think about what happened psychologically. Years of survival were placed against a few minutes of possibility. The jewelry that symbolized security became fuel for the behavior destroying that security. She pawned a ring. She topped up the gambling account. She played. She lost. Panic took control. She searched for someone willing to lend her money. She borrowed. She gambled with the borrowed money. She lost again. Then more jewelry entered the pawn shop. Piece by piece, the gold disappeared from Dali's body and reappeared behind locked glass. But even after the jewelry was gone, the addiction kept promising that it could return everything. That is the lie at the center of loss chasing. The thing that wounded you begins presenting itself as the only thing capable of healing you. The app took the money, then offered itself as the recovery plan. It took the gold, then promised a larger win. It destabilized the family, then demanded another chance. Dali was not trying to become rich anymore. She was trying to reverse time. She wanted to return to the moment before the first serious loss, before the pawnshop, before the borrowing, before the shame. But gambling cannot reverse time. It can only take more of the future. Days became weeks. Dali struggled to eat. Desperation occupied her mind. She became angry with the children. The children had not caused the losses, but they were close enough to receive the emotional explosion. Addiction produces pain inside one person and then distributes that pain across the household. The gambler feels panic. The children receive irritation. The spouse receives conflict. The bills receive neglect. The lender receives promises. Everyone gets a piece of the damage except the app. Dali fought with her husband. The man sending money to support the household was now confronting the disappearance of that money. He was not merely dealing with financial loss. He was watching his wife become emotionally controlled by something he could not reason with. Eventually, Dali admitted what had happened. Her husband tried to guide her. He explained how she could stop. He tried to show her that chasing the money would only deepen the loss. But information alone cannot defeat an addiction that the person is still protecting. Part of Dali wanted relief. Another part still wanted recovery through gambling. She wanted the gold back. She wanted the debt erased. She wanted to prove that the entire disaster had only been a temporary mistake. And somewhere inside her remained the memory of those early wins. The addiction used that memory like evidence in a courtroom. You can still win. You have done it before. One successful night can repair everything. But it was not promising recovery. It was demanding another sacrifice. And throughout this story stood Ina. Ina had already experienced the borrowing. She knew the debt. She knew the calls from lenders. She knew the pressure of interest. She knew the humiliation of losing her husband's hard-earned money. She knew that gambling could continue long after the money disappeared. She had walked this road before Dali. Yet instead of standing at its entrance and screaming, "Do not come this way," she shared the links. She shared the games. She displayed the wins. She encouraged the conversations. She helped make gambling feel familiar. She watered the desire growing inside Dali. That does not mean Ina controlled every decision Dali made. Dali placed the bets. Dali borrowed the money. Dali entered the pawnshop. Personal responsibility cannot be erased simply because someone else opened the door, but neither can influence be erased simply because Dali walked through it. Ina knew that the floor was collapsing because she was already standing inside the hole. Still, she invited her friend closer. Perhaps Ina wanted company. Perhaps watching Dali gamble made her own behavior feel less shameful. Perhaps another gambler beside her transformed addiction into friendship. Whatever existed inside Ina's mind, her actions had consequences. A friend who encourages your weakness is not protecting your freedom. A friend who introduces you to the poison destroying her own life is not offering you opportunity. And a friend who celebrates your first wins while knowing what can follow is helping the trap disguise itself. The deepest betrayal was not that Ina hated Dali. It was that she could behave like a caring friend while feeding the behavior that damaged Dali's children, marriage and financial security. This is why not every person who comforts you is safe. Not every person who understands your pain wants you to escape it. Some people bond with you through healing. Others bond with you through shared destruction. And if your recovery threatens the foundation of the friendship, that friendship was never built around your well-being. Dali still gambles. That truth cannot be softened. This story does not end with a miraculous transformation or a clean declaration that everything is now repaired. The gold remains pawned. The losses remain real. The children cannot recover every moment when their mother's attention belonged to a screen. The husband cannot simply command trust to return. And the addiction remains alive. Recognizing the problem is important, but recognition without action can become another delay. Apologizing is not recovery. Promising is not recovery. Gambling with smaller amounts is not recovery. Winning back part of the loss is not recovery. Deleting one application while keeping access to 5 others is not recovery. Recovery begins when the person stops negotiating with the behavior destroying the family. If gambling is controlling your life, do not rely on willpower alone. Remove access, delete the applications, block gambling websites. Activate gambling payment blocks where banks or financial services provide them. Use formal self-exclusion. Give temporary financial oversight to a trusted person through a clear, mutually agreed plan. Pay food, housing, school, and essential bills immediately when income arrives. Do not keep emergency money beside unrestricted gambling access. Write down every debt. Stop hiding numbers. Stop borrowing to recover losses. Tell lenders the truth and create a repayment plan that does not depend on gambling. Leave gambling groups. Block people who continue sending links, wins, or invitations. A relationship that survives only while you remain addicted is not a friendship worth preserving. Seek professional treatment. Evidence-based guidance recommends psychological support, including cognitive behavioral therapy, because recovery requires more than removing an app. The beliefs underneath the behavior must also be confronted. The illusion of control, the belief that a win is due, the urge to chase losses, and the fantasy that gambling can repair gambling. Prepare for relapse before temptation arrives. Know your triggers: loneliness, sleepless nights, conflict, access to money, winning screenshots, conversations with gambling friends, the day salary arrives. The feeling that one small bet cannot matter. That small bet is not small when it reopens the door. For people in the Philippines, PAGCOR provides self-exclusion options lasting 6 months, 1 year, or 5 years. Family members can also apply for family exclusion under qualifying circumstances. PAGCOR's National Problem Gambling Helpline operates 24 hours a day at 02-8248-9568, connecting callers with trained counselors for confidential support. Use the help. Do not wait until every piece of gold is gone. Do not wait until the debt becomes impossible. Do not wait until your children stop asking for your attention because they have learned that the phone always wins. And do not confuse temporary restraint with freedom. You can put the devil inside a cage. You can wrap chains around it. You can watch it become quiet and convince yourself that it has died. But if you continue feeding it through one secret bet, one saved link, one gambling friend, or one fantasy about recovering everything, the devil is still alive. Eventually, the chain may loosen. The cage may open, and the thing you refuse to kill will return hungrier than before. Gambling studies your weakness. It learns what you want. If you are poor, it offers wealth. If you are ashamed, it offers recovery. If you are lonely, it offers excitement. If you have already lost, it offers revenge. Then it takes your money, your sleep, your honesty, your attention, your marriage, and the childhood of the children watching you disappear. Kill the habit before the habit kills everything you love. Not tomorrow, not after one final game, not when you recover the money, now. Because the next bet is not your rescue. It is the trap asking whether you are still willing to feed it. This is Mind Trap. Subscribe for documentaries that expose the psychological forces hiding inside families, friendships, and human behavior. And remember, a real friend does not help you become comfortable inside your destruction. A real friend pulls you out, even if saving you costs the friendship.